actually want to...
Senator Huffines, you're
Senator
recognized.
Huffines, thank you. Senator
Yes.
Huffines, I wanted to just discuss with you this amendment that you're putting on and discuss what I see as the problems associated with this amendment. Certainly, I think we're all in agreement that we never want any law-abiding citizen to be confronted or have issues with law enforcement when it's not necessary. We certainly want individuals to be able to enjoy their constitutional rights and the privileges that have been given to them by the state of Texas, as far as, especially if this bill passes and giving them the ability to openly carry their weapons. But I strongly believe that this particular amendment will make it virtually impossible for law enforcement to perform their duties. I think we all know that law enforcement has been very unsettled about open carry to start out with, and I've sat through all the committee hearings and listened to police officers and taken into account what they had to say, but this body has proceeded anyway, despite some of their concerns. I think some of their concerns were unfounded, but I think some of their concerns are quite legitimate, and the law enforcement community has great concerns about this amendment. Virtually, in my opinion, what this amendment does is create what you were trying to do in your other amendment that you pulled down, and that is to create constitutional carry. I understand that you have support from some of the Republican members on this bill, and I understand that you have support from some of the Democrat members on this bill, on this amendment. And I would suspect my dear Democratic friends here, some who are supporting it because it, in effect, will lead to constitutional carry, which is going to lead to what I believe grave issues in the state of Texas as to how this new legislation will be perceived, both by law enforcement and by the public. Because any person will know that they can carry a gun and it can be exposed, and unless they are committing a crime or in the process of engaging in activities that rise to the level of reasonable suspicion, that they cannot be approached by law enforcement and be questioned about why they have a pistol or a handgun upon their person. I trust that law enforcement, as they have had a very good relationship with CHL holders for the last 20 years. And I submit to you, it's because both parties, law enforcement and CHL holders, have respected each other's legal authority. Up until now, law enforcement has had a right to ask a person if they were in fact a legitimate CHL holder, and they were required under the law to produce that license. If they didn't, they committed a crime. That's been the law for 20 years, and I would say that both communities, this has worked in an excellent manner. There have been no issues. I think we know the very, very, very low percentage of CHL holders who have engaged in any type of criminal activity, nor have I heard any complaints from CHL holders that they have been harassed or abused by law enforcement officials. In effect, you are going to tie the hands of police officers, so unless a person actually commits a crime. I can give you an example. There's been a lot of talk about the Waco incident. Virtually, when the police approached that scene, if they saw individuals, even in the area, with a gun on them, I guess under this amendment, they would not be able to approach that individual and ask them if they were in fact CHL holders. I believe under the facts and circumstances, the objective facts that a police officer can look at, that they will assess the situation. Do I think that they will approach a farmer in Senator Seliger's district in rural Texas who's sitting in a diner and they can see that he has a handgun? Probably not. I don't think that law enforcement is going to harass one of Senator Seliger's constituents in that situation. If a law enforcement officer sees a person walking down the streets of Houston, perhaps in an area that is not an area where one would expect to see a person openly carrying a handgun, it may not be inappropriate at all for the officer to make a quick question, are you a valid CHL holder? And the CHL holder, as it is required under current law, would simply have to present their license and they would quickly go upon their way. This system has worked. I think that this is a poison pill to the bill members, those that support it, because it's going to have unintended consequences. I think it has dire consequences for the state of Texas. I think this is a huge mistake. I think you probably have the votes to get it on, because I can see a coalition forming, and I see that, but I think it's a mistake. And for many in this chamber and in this Capitol who have fought for years for this right, including some of the activist organizations like the NRA, Open Carry Texas, this is a mistake. And I think members understand the votes are here, but I want to go on record for saying this is a mistake and this is bad for the state of Texas. Thank you.